Hello and welcome, first of all, to the very first Red Devils Dugout episode and also to the Manchester United v Manchester City preview. Bit of housekeeping before I start. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm going to make this super quick. This is a new channel. You'll get news, reviews, opinions. A one-man operation for the moment, so there will be graphics and such, but the quality will improve as time goes on. I just need to get to a place where I can put all these assets together and such. Need to figure all of that out. Secondly, no, yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get into the news. Both teams come into this one on very good form, exactly the same form actually. In the last 5 games, United and City have drawn 1 and won 4. We have United obviously coming off the back of that 2-1 win over Aston Villa, where the Pogba penalty put us ahead and we managed to see it through to the end. City obviously coming off that 3-0 win against Chelsea, which I didn't really see coming, if I have to be honest. I kind of expected Chelsea to put up more of a fight than they actually did. But honestly, couldn't care less. I'm pretty happy to see Chelsea get piped. A draw probably would have been a better option for us. But regardless, it's all good, really. We, as United fans, we want to have our future in our own hands. So the fact that this could be a much better derby than the last one, which ended in a 0-0 boring draw. Yeah. So let's get into the team news. For United, we are obviously missing Edison Cavani, who is serving his suspension as imposed by the FA. I won't get into that right now, but probably shouldn't be serving a ban. It's unfortunate. But it was probably just a lot easier for the club to say, yeah, let's just let it go. I think they had some very specific wording in their press statement, which kind of alluded to the fact that as long as you don't bring our name into disrepute, we'll just let it go. And I think that's exactly what's going on here. It's just a lot easier to just be, well, okay, cool. It's over and done with now. Let's not drag it out. We'll live and we'll learn, kind of thing. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer just did his press conference. He says Lindelof has recovered from a back injury. Phil Jones and Marcus Rojo are still not present. And let's be honest now, even if they were, probably not featuring for the first team. For City, I wouldn't call their team decimated because they have such strength in depth that they can field a pretty good team regardless. But they are missing Laporte, Edison, Garcia, Torres, Deuce, Walker, and Ake, which is obviously quite a big blow for them. The key one, of course, is probably Edison because their other backup keepers aren't amazing, and it's looking likely that one of them will start. So I think we have a pretty good shot going into the game. I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of rotation on our side. One of the key decisions I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has to make is whether or not he takes Bailly back out of the team, because Bailly has obviously been performing immensely for us. The last, I think it's 4 games, he's pretty much had a strong, solid showing every single time. And he's looking like the player that we all knew he could be. Personally, I love Eric Bailly. I think he's one of the best defenders that we have, if not the best. And alongside Maguire, they formed a very strong partnership at the back. The only issue is, and honestly, like I watch other United channels as well, it feels like we're all just repeating ourselves here, is the only issue is can he stay fit? Can we keep him there for a whole season? Because if he continues towards the end of the season, the way he's been going on for the last couple of games, you'd look at that United side and you'd say, we probably don't need a centre-back. You'd probably be okay. I mean, you've got Tuanzebe, who, again, if he can stay fit, is a very, very good option. You've got Lindelof, and so alongside Maguire, that's 4 centre-backs that, that you can rotate and you can reasonably be happy with the state of our defence. Obviously we could probably do with another right back, but this isn't a transfer review. This is just talking about team news. So I'll try and avoid going into whether or not who we should sign, although it's a very easy thing to get drawn into when you're a United fan. Um, I think as well that Alex Telles probably won't start. Um, I'm a big fan of Telles, but he was hauled off at half time in his last game. Not against Villa, who he didn't play. I think it was against Wolves. He was hauled off at half time for Luke Shaw, not because of injury. Ollie came out later and said it was a tactical decision. And I think it was something to do with the 8 crosses that he'd whipped in that pretty much didn't hit anybody. And I mean, when Cavani's playing, you can kind of look at it and say, right, well, maybe somebody can get onto those crosses, but I don't know. We've struggled for a long time to have a good quality of cross into the box, and I'm not saying that Telles' crosses were perfect, but he's obviously got a fantastic delivery on him, and I'm not sure the rest of our team are ready to capitalize by getting into the box to maybe get on the end of those deliveries. That being said, his deliveries should and could have been better. I I have a feeling that Luke Shaw will come back into this game just because of well, put it like this: when I watched City play against Chelsea, they fielded Raheem Sterling on the right and Foden on the left, and even the commentators were kind of like, I would have thought Sterling would play on the other side because that's his favorite side. And it got me thinking after the game that maybe they're doing this to test it against United because Aaron Wan-Bissaka is obviously fantastic defensively. And, I think in the last game, he showed when we played them, that he can pretty much single-handedly be counted on. If concentration doesn't lapse, he can be counted on to keep whoever's on that side in his pocket for pretty much 90 minutes. So if you play Sterling out on that side, who, let's be honest now, sometimes his legs move a little bit faster than his head does, um, he's likely to get pocketed, and it'll be a very boring game for him. Whereas if you flip it and put him on the other side, now he's going up against what would be either Alex Telles or Luke Shaw. And I think that's a much more favourable matchup for him because, we all know Luke Shaw hasn't always been the best defensively or going forward. And I think Sterling would have a much better chance of getting past him if Luke Shaw's having an off day. So I think because, we all like to say that Luke Shaw's the better defensively. I'll be honest, I don't particularly like Luke Shaw. I don't particularly think that I don't want to say I don't like him. I just think his performances up till now for United haven't been the performances that we should be getting at. Let's put it like that. So I don't know if playing him over Alex Telles is the best decision, but I do believe that's probably the one that Solskjaer is probably going to go with. Just makes a little more sense when trying to avoid a little mistake. Aguero, on the other hand, for City, has returned. He made a short cameo in the last game, and there's a good chance he can start, but there's also a good chance that he probably doesn't because it's Pep Guardiola, and Pep does what Pep wants. To be honest, now he just he played De Bruyne as a false nine ish last game. And it worked for them. They won 3-0. We could see something similar here. But if he did do something like that, I would. If he did do something like that, I would fancy our chances in the game because I believe that our defense sometimes has been a little bit shaky, and I think we probably have the best chance if then the two centre backs are not preoccupied with an out-and-out striker. If we have someone like De Bruyne who's drifting into midfield and going left and going right, I actually think it serves us centre backs better. So I don't know if Pep will try that. I think he'll probably go and put Aguero back up front, which would just be a lot more difficult for Maguire and whoever partners him to deal with over the course of 90 minutes. So yeah, that's pretty much that for the game. I don't know, how can I say it? I'm not entirely sure what team will field. If I had to take a guess, and again, apologies for having no graphic for this at the moment, I would probably go De Gea in goal. I don't think Henderson is going to get another start this soon. He made a pretty big mistake the last time he played, and it's pretty fresh not fresh in everyone's minds, but I think this is going to be a very crucial period for United in the next 3 weeks or so. This could ultimately define our the rest of our season. So we really need to make sure that we're solid. And I think it's not that Dean Henderson isn't a fantastic keeper. We all know he is. His quality is doubtable. But De Gea is now coming into his own, and he's really looking like may, fingers crossed, touch wood, he may have put that patch of bad form behind him. It was obviously too early to say, but given look at what happened end of last season, where Romero had started a lot of cup games, and then De Gea replaced him important ones. Obviously, didn't work out in that particular instance, but I think it's shown that Ollie would prefer to stay with De Gea in goal if he can. So I think he's going to go with that again today, especially as De Gea provided some very good saves in the last game. Right back, probably Aaron Wan-Bissaka. We don't really have many options there. Again, like I said, if you want to shackle some of City's attackers, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is exactly the perfect defender to do that. As long as he keeps his concentration on dead balls this time, we should be good. In defense, it's a tricky one. I think the biggest decision comes here about whether he replaces Lindelof with Bailly. I think he'll probably start Bailly, or at least I would start Bailly. Let's say that I would start Bailly. The reason being is because, again, we're all waiting for Bailly to get injured. So while he's here and while he's playing well, keep him in the team. Until such time as this guy goes down, just keep him in the team. He's been playing fantastically, and I think you've just got to capitalize on that, because, like I said, there's going to be a lot of games. There's going to be a lot of rotation, and if you've got an informed centre back, and I think for me, form is over 5 games. So if he's played 4, all right, cool. He's got another game for us to kind of judge him against. But I think 4 really solid performances are enough for someone to say, yeah, you're doing well. I'd just keep him there. If I was being, if both Lindelof and Bailly have been playing at the same time, maybe I might bring Lindelof in instead. Lindelof's been injured, rushing him back from an injury against an informed defender. I don't know if Ollie will do that. Maybe he will, but I'd say he'll bring Bailly in. Maguire's pretty much guaranteed to start, as he always is. Again, I've already said I think Luke Shaw is going to come in at left back. Midfield, tricky one, because it's the same problem you've got with Bailly and Lindelof. Do you take Pogba out of the team when he's been playing? And again, I won't say Pogba's been playing well, because I don't necessarily think he's been playing amazing. I think he's just been playing. I think what it is his levels have been very, very poor at certain points in the season. So now we're just used to praising him when he does something that realistically should kind of be his level week in, week out. So he's not been amazing, but he's been better than he has been. So do we take him out of the team and expect him, to still put in those performances the week after next, or, against Burnley, or against Liverpool, or whatever it is? Or do we keep him in, but, potentially suffer the consequences if he decides to, give up the ball in midfield or not track back for a run or something like that? So it's a tricky one here. I think just due to partnerships, I think Pogba will start on the bench. I think because if we had a better, we're linked with this Moises Caicedo. If he, was the kind of box to box CDM player who was really solid, I think maybe Pogba would start, and you'd see Bruno, Pogba, and this guy in as a CDM. But because, even though I love Fred, I think he's got a mistake in him. He doesn't always protect the ball as well as he could do. And Scott McTominay, as good as he's been in games, we know he's not there. His performance against Leeds was 10 out of 10, but more recently, or more often than not, he's pretty much a 6 or 6.5 kind of thing. So for that reason, I think he'll play Fred and McTominay. Potentially, he might try Matic and Pogba, but I don't think Matic, he's not going to have the legs to go, and City are going to City have been static before, but they were running a lot against Chelsea. So I think he's probably going to go with Fred and McTominay. Up above him, assuming we're playing a 4-2-3-1, which we probably will do. You've got Bruno, who's going to come in at cam. You've got Rashford, who probably play on the left side of him. Do I see him reverting to Greenwood? I don't know. I kind of think without Cavani, and considering Greenwood hasn't started, I'm sure Greenwood didn't start the last game. I think he'll probably want the option of being able to bring Greenwood. That would be my most. That would be my best guess. Just checking the lineup for the Villa game. Yeah, we played a diamond in that game. He could revert to a diamond this game as well. That would actually make more sense. But I think considering how dangerous City are on the wings, I don't know if it actually would make more sense. It would make more sense for us. I don't know if it would make more sense going backwards. So I'll say he'll put Greenwood on the right and then he'll put Martial up top. He might opt for Daniel James, though I don't really think Daniel James is going to offer us a lot other than the ability to break going forwards. He still kind of hasn't come into his own. Really kind of I don't want to say the clock's clicking. I don't want to say the clock's ticking because he's obviously a young lad. But after you've been at United for going on a year and a half now, and arguably he was better when he first came to the team, has been now, especially in terms of output. Anyway, we're starting to lose our patience. Let's just put it like that. That's it for the United City preview. Let's get into some basic news, which normally I'll do in another video, but since this is the first video, there's a couple of things I'd like to cover. So, number one, Darren Fletcher has moved into the first team coaching staff. It's a good appointment. We all obviously know Darren Fletcher, and obviously the main criticism that kind of coming out of this is the whole, well, he's an ex-United player. Did he get the job because he's an ex-United player, or did he get the job because he's actually good for the job? Probably a combination of both. I think, Ollie has suffered a lot of criticisms about his time in charge of United, but I think one of the key things that he's done is that look at that club as an entity, and it's filled with these people who know the club and know what it's about. We were kind of stranded before. We knew we wanted to win, but we didn't have the culture of winning, or we weren't that kind of organization. Now it's looking a little more like there's some kind of semblance happening. So we're kind of slowly getting back to where we need to be. And I think by having people around the club who instill these values into the people who play for the club, from the ground up, is doing us some benefit. So hopefully Fletcher will come in and really be a solid addition to the team, and obviously just be able to put an arm around some of the players and be like, hey, like this is what it takes to be successful. This is what it takes to be. And some of the midfield players could obviously benefit from him, and everybody in the team. So yeah, more power to Ollie. Transfers. Moises Caicedo. I don't know a lot about him. I'll be honest. Do not know a lot about him. Would I be happy to have him join? Yes, absolutely. I think any young, talented player we should be looking to sign. And Ollie has shown a preference for getting back to that way of thinking. We brought in Dan James, we brought in Palestri, brought in Hannibal, we brought in, I can't remember the names of them, but a left back and a right back from Barcelona and Real Madrid, respectively. We're obviously looking at the outlay of a couple of million here and there for, maybe unheard of youngsters who could potentially be talented, and a bit more, around 15 to 25 kind of million for youngsters who are a little more established. So for this guy to come in now, and obviously, we all need a CDM, and we're probably going to lose Pogba in the summer. Personal feelings on that I won't delve into just at this moment in time, but suffice to say the headline is, I don't really care. And yeah, I think, it's a good signing. We'll get him integrated into the team in the next 6 months. And then 9 months from here, if the virus hasn't wiped us all out and we're still playing football, he should hopefully be in a good place to partner some players up, and then Van der Beek can come into the team, or Fred can have a better partner, or McTominay, or whoever it is. For me, somebody box to box, great. Depending on the fee we have to pay for him, we'll see. But I'm perfectly happy to have him join. The other signing, of course, Amad Diallo was signed last transfer window, but the deal was to loan him back to his parent club, Atalanta, and signing him in January. They have weirdly been trying to keep him. I've seen a lot of news in the papers about him trying to stay at Atalanta, and I don't really know why, because when I looked at his stats, he's played 5 times for them. Let me just get it up here, find it. He's only played about 4 games this season, and which, when you think about it, like, I know he might be cover for somebody in their team, but you would expect them, if they really wanted to keep him, expect him to have played a lot more than that. So he's played 5 times for their team in total. This season he's played 1 game. Damn, excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, this season he's played 1 game. For a total of 14 minutes apparently, and 1 game in the Champions League for a total of 23 minutes. I'm not entirely sure why they want to keep, apart from cover, but surely they must be able to delve into their youth team, or even find somebody on a free transfer. There's a couple of people. Anyway, my point is that I don't know if they really need him for another 6 months. It's not like he was going to have an impact on their first team. Maybe they've got an injury somewhere. I don't know. But regardless, I'm pretty sure Ollie basically went. He's coming. They're taking him. So, great. I'll be happy to see him come. Honestly, that right wing role, or that right forward role, or whatever you want to call it, that area of the pitch is crying out for somebody to be like, you're mine. This is my area. I don't think he'll come in straight to the first team. I think he'll be around the first team. Maybe have like an under 23s performance, then be on the bench for United for a couple of games, or making maybe even a small cameo against Burnley if he comes quick enough. But most likely, whoever our next opponent is after Liverpool, he'll probably come in there. Let's see, Watford game. Depending on what you've got, Watford, you've got Burnley, then after Liverpool, we've got Fulham. I could see him coming on for like half an hour against Fulham. Assuming we're in a good result. We've got Sheffield United after that as well. And I think, I haven't seen a lot of him play. I've seen a couple of YouTube clips, same as most people probably have at this point. But regardless, if the guy can get his head down and can progress the ball, because Greenwood is fantastic at scoring, even though this season he's not necessarily put the ball in the back of the net as many times as we would hope he would have. He's a fantastic scorer. The problem is that Greenwood is not really a right winger. He's just not that good at progressing the ball as other people are. He's not that good at tracking back, breaking out of, when we need to break at pace. Can't always find a pass to be able to get himself afterwards into a better position to attack opposition. If we can find somebody, and that's kind of the same problem Daniel James has. He's got fantastic pace, but when the ball's at his feet, he's not the best dribbler. He can run fast with it, but he can't take the ball with him a lot. We can find somebody who can reliably skip past at least one guy. It's what Tony Marshall does great. Normally, if he's faced with a bunch of people, he just looks at them and attacks them. Right, I'm coming for you. Bam. And he can skip past one person at least, usually 2 or 3. If we can find somebody on the right wing, if Diallo can be that guy and he can skip past at least one person on the regular, it's fantastic. You'll start week in, week out. Which is funny, because if I had to put my money on somebody having that right wing role in the future, I'd probably say Pellistri. And I don't really have much to back that up other than a 13-year football manager save on my computer, in which he signed for Liverpool at the age of 28. But he seems to be very highly thought of. And got fellow Uruguayan in the club with Edison Cavani, and people seem to be. I think he was 3 goals and 3 appearances at one point in time. I did see the goals; they weren't that great. He was kind of, but at the same time, he scored. Same, the kind of the opposite what happened with Martial. It doesn't necessarily mean if you're playing well, but if you're getting a productive output, then you're doing something right. So then when you do start playing well, great. So yeah, but either way, I think Palestri's probably a little further out. He also might see a game in this Christmas period. Let's say Christmas New Year period, should I? So yeah, I think I'll be glad to see him come. I'll be glad to see him come. What we need to do is focus on getting people out of the club who are never going to play. So there's been news, obviously, of Marcus Rojo going out on loan. I think it's a loan anyway. I really hope he would go permanently, but we'll take what we can get for the moment. Phil Jones as well. Jesse Lingard's had a contract extension for 1 year, been triggered. Again, I'm glad to see it's an extension, which was obviously a clause in his contract, as opposed to him signing a new contract. I think at this point, we all realize that Lingard doesn't have a future at the club. And that's sad to say, of course, as a United fan, my thoughts and feelings towards the players who play for our club and wear our colours are always going to be positive, as long as their actions are positive. So I don't want to see Jesse fail. However, impartially, Jesse hasn't done as well as he could have done. Had a lot of time to prove himself. Yes, there's been a personal problem in his life. I remember he spoke out about this last year. We're going through some issues personally, and as much as we want to say, oh, you're a football player, play football. These are people. They have lives, they have families, worries and hurts and dreams and aspirations, the same as you and I do. So I get it, but at the same time as well, football club. You're kind of going to come down to what you can do on the pitch, and unfortunately for Jesse, he hasn't. Apart from screwing up that guy's bet last year, he pretty much hasn't done much. So it's probably best for him and everybody else if he moves on. He wants regular football, I should hope, and I don't think he's going to find it at United. Phil Jones, yeah, no, trying to get rid of him. The strangest decision was 2 years ago, I think, when Ollie had just signed a permanent deal, signed Phil Jones to a 5-year contract. At the time, I was looking at it and I was going, "The blazes are we doing?" It was absolutely unfathomable to me that we would do that. But what can you say? So yeah, if we can get a couple of outs, that'd be great. Fabrizio Romano has been talking about us getting a couple more people in. Personally, with the resurgence of Bailly's performance, I don't see us getting a lot of people in. If we get Caicedo and Diallo, hopefully finalizes his transfer, that's it. As far as I'm concerned, I don't see anything happening. Pogba leaving the summer. Everybody else, outs. We might get a couple of outs, though. Honestly, apart from Rojo, I don't really see anybody moving on, especially not on a permanent deal. It'll be a loan move for Brandon Williams. Hopefully, I think he needs it. I do. I really do. But yeah, apart from that, I can't see any ins. Maybe we'll see some outs. Yeah, I think it's going to be a quiet one. I'll be honest. I don't think Ollie wants to shake it up too much. Maybe we'll see like another random youth from some club come in or under 20 something. But regardless, I mean, we'll keep an eye on it and any news that we have. If there's anything worth talking about, I'll make a video about it. But yeah, pretty much all the general news. Right, I'm kind of working this all out. So I just want to say thank you if you're tuned in. This is obviously first video. Like I said, everything will get tied together really nicely in the next coming weeks or so. I'm going to try, my initial thought is to try and get a video out before a match, after a match, and then maybe supplement if we, if it goes into lockdown, or an off season, some transfer reviews, or if there's any major news, I'll make a video for. Something major happens, I'll probably switch on the camera and make a video for. Outside of that, I want to do news and reviews, and then off season kind of do a lot of opinions. You'll hear my opinion during the season in these reviews and previews, because it's a one person channel, unlike Stretford Palace or the United Stand, just me at the moment. So you're going to hear a lot of what I have to say in that anyway, and you're probably going to get sick and tired of listening to my voice. So I'm going to make sure that I only do key videos. Like I said, graphics and everything, I'm going to start working on as soon as possible. Little transition effects. I can do everything myself for the most part. It may not look amazing, but I can do it. It's just going to take me a long time because I have a lot of other things that I'm doing at the same time. So just bear with me, please. If you could drop a subscribe and follow, usual spiel, that'd be great. Because it just lets me know, how much to put into this. Realistically, I'm going to keep going because I've wanted to start this channel for ages. I almost started it almost 4 years ago now, if I'm honest. And I just didn't. But I love talking about United. I've supported United my whole life, and I'm always going to talk about United. So even if I'm the only person who goes back to watch this, I'm still going to do it. But if you drop a subscribe, you drop a follow, you hit that notification bell, it'd make me feel a little better. If you dropped a like, even better. If you liked it, like it. If you didn't like it, dislike it. Let's know what to do better next time. If you could follow us on the socials, it's Red Devils Dugout at every major thing. I'm not on Facebook because through Facebook, but on Twitter and Instagram, Red Devils Dugout. Links will be below. And yeah, thank you very much for joining in, and I will see you guys in the next one, which will hopefully be a review of the City game. I think that gives me enough time. Yeah, should be good. Catch you then.